Good evening, students. So we start with this topic, that is C preprocessor. C preprocessor in C language we use generally, and generally if we will see, the C preprocessor is not the part of the compiler. It is a separate steps in the compilation process. And when we will talk about the C preprocessor, as the name implies, preprocessor, that means it is a program that processes our source program before it is passed to the compiler. So in this video, we will learn about all of these C preprocessors directives, as well as you will learn about the macros and how we can use these macros in our C language. So let us start. So before starting the first topic, just I want to tell you I will cover these topics in this video. The first topic is preprocessor directives, that is hash define, and second is macro expansion. In the next video we will discuss about the third topic, that is your macros with the arguments. So let us start with the first topic, and that is your preprocessor directives. As I've already told you, C preprocessor, that is, it is the program that processes our source program before it is passed to the compiler. And generally, when we will talk about the preprocessor directives, directive means that in the preprocessor commands. So preprocessor commands are also known as directives. In case of a C language, generally we use preprocessor directive, which is represented by the hash, to include our header files. For example, we can see if you want to write a program in C language, and you will begin always with the hash include stdio.h. That means you want to be include that header file to the part of your program. So for including your header files in your program, we use directives, preprocessor commands. So the C preprocessor generally offers the several features called preprocessor directives, and each of these preprocessor directives begin with a hash symbol. One more thing that I want to tell you here, it must be the first non-blank character. Non-blank character. A preprocessor directive should begin in the first column. So these two conditions must be met before defining your preprocessor directive. The first condition is it must be the first non-blank character, and second, a preprocessor directive should begin in the first column. The directive can be placed anywhere in the program, but it is most often placed in the beginning of the program before defining the first function definition. So this is an example program. You can see that is called macro expansion. So macro expansion generally in this program you can see that we are going to define hash define upper 25. So in this program, hash is your directives, define is your keyword, and then upper is called macro template, and 25 is called definition. So you can see in this is the main program. When we are going to apply the for loop for I equal to 1, I less than equal to upper, I plus plus. So when the compiler will compile this program, and it will replace this upper with the 25, because upper is a macro template, and corresponding to this macro template we have a value. You can say that we have a definition, that is 25. So when you will execute this program or compile this program, the compiler will replace this upper with the 25 values. Now the loop will be executed, and it will print the values from 1 to 25. So that was an example of the macro expansion. Now let us see how we can execute this program in C programs. So this is our code blocks in which we will write the program. So let us restart. So this is our hash, then we are going to define it. So this is hash define. Now we are going to define here upper, this is the macro template 25. Then we are going to define main function. So this is our void main. we are going to declare a variable integer I. Then we are going to define here the for loop. So in this for loop, I am just going to define initialization of value I equal to 1. Then I is less than equal to upper, and then I plus plus. Now we need to define the scope of this for loop. So this is for loop. So we will write here, if you want to print I value, so we will write here double quote, then percentage D, comma I, and then terminator. Now click on the save button and execute this program, build and run. So you can see that it is going to print our value from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 up to 25. So as you can see from this program, what it is doing, the compiler is just replacing this upper macro template with the values 25. So it is automatically considering here the value 25. As you can see, when I'm pointing on this one, automatically it is pointing to the macro definition. So this is called macro definition. This complete is called macro definition, and this upper is called macro template, and this is called preprocessor directives. So this is a program by which you can see how we can use our macros. Now come to the next program. So this is an example program 2. Again we are going to define hash define pi 3.1415. So that means we are going to define a macro definition with a macro template is pi, where its expansion is 3.1415. That means in the program where the pi macro template will be encountered, or you can simply say that where the macro will be encountered, pi macro will be encountered, it just replace the value with the 3.1415. So in this program, again this is the main, and then we are going to define a variable, floating type variable r equal to 6.25. Now we are going to take here another variable, that is area, and we are going to find out the area of the circle. And when we are multiplying this pi, that means that it will replace with a 3.1415 multiply by 6.25 multiply by 6.25, and it will print the area of the circle. So let us we see again this program by executing this program. So now we need to take the another file. So this is our new file. This is C++ source file. I am going to take another source file of the C language. Now I need to define the full path. So I am giving the desktop is the full path, and this is your example program 2. So I am giving here the name example 2. Click on the save and then click on the finish. Now we need to write the program here. So first of all, I need to use the hash define. Before defining this macros, I just need to include hash include stdio.h header file, then hash define pi. Pi is our macro template, and corresponding to this macro template we have the definition 3.1415. Now we are going to take this void main. This is the scope. Now we are going to take here the float value of r equal to 6.25. Now we need to take another variable in which we will calculate the area of the circle. So we have taken area. Now we are going to take it area equal to pi multiply by r multiply by r. So in this case, compiler will replace this pi with the value 3.1415. Now we need to write here the printf statement. So this is printf. Now we are going to write here. So this is your area of circle. So this is our percentage f, then comma, and going to define here area. Now click on the save button, and we need to build and run it. So you can see that it is finding the area of the circle equal to 122.714.844. So again, this was an example of the macro expansions. Now come back to our third program. This is third example program. You can see that we can also use these macros for defining our operators. Like if we are going to define here the operator like m%. This is called AND operator. And second is OR operator, that is your double pipe symbols. So we can also use hash define macro directives to define the operators as given in the program. In this program, you can see that we are using this AND or OR macro template for defining this AND, logical AND and logical OR. In this program, we are going to use if condition with the help of AND or OR. That means this AND will be replaced with the logical AND operator and this OR will be replaced with the logical OR operator, and then it will execute our program. So let us execute this program. Again, we need to take the another file. So click on the new, then empty file you can take, and then later on you can save it with the .c. So this is our hash define. So before going into, I just going to save it. So just select the desktop. Then this is our example 3. So this is example 3.c. Now click on the save button. So before defining any macros, we need to include hash include stdio.h header file. Now we need to define here. So hash define. Then we are going to take here AND operator, which is defining an operator, and then hash define. We are going to define multiple. That means we can also define multiple macros here. So this is OR, which is representing our operator, which is our operator is logical OR operator. Now we are going to use void main, then use the braces. We are going to define here integer f equal to 1, comma x equal to 4, comma y equal to 90. Then we are taking here if condition, and then we are applying here another braces for f is less than 5. We want to test here the multiple condition. When we going to test the multiple condition, generally we use logical AND or logical OR. So this is if the condition is f is less than 5, and that means both conditions should be met. So this is x is less than equal to 20 or y is less than equal to 45. Then it will print. So this is our printf statement. In this printf we can write anything. So it will print hello, this is macro program. Now we need to place here the terminator, else otherwise it will place or it will print wrong program. So let us see how this program will be executed by the compiler. So first of all, the control will goes to the main function. After that it will initialize the three variables f equal to 1, x equal to 4, y equal to 90. Then the control will goes to the next statement, if statement. It will check whether f is less than 5. Yes, condition is true, and that means both of the conditions should be true. So this condition as well as this condition, whole condition should be true. Then it will print hello, this is macro program, otherwise it will print wrong program. Now the first condition, it is matches with yes, 1 is less than 5, condition is true, then and then it will check whether the x is less than x is less than equal to 20. Yes, condition is true, or that means either this condition should be true or this condition should be true. So y is less than equal to 45, so you can see that 90 is not less than equal to 45. So one condition is true in between these, so it will take true value here. So this and this both conditions are true, so it should print hello. This is a macro program. Now let us see the output. Click on the save button and just go and build and run. So you can see that hello, this is our macro program. So it is executing our first condition because it is satisfying our condition. But most important thing that I want to tell you here, this is the macro program, and you can see that when the compiler will execute this program, firstly it will replace this and with double and this or will be replaced with these operators. So let us see by omitting this and replacing with this and whether our output is coming correct or not. So I am just going to use these or symbols and symbols. Now I am going to comment this. So this is commenting here. Now click on the save button and then build and run. So you can see that the output is coming same. So what we are doing here, we are just going to replace this and with our macro template and and or and uncomment this. So this is an example of writing the macros in C language. Now come back to our next topic. So this is another example, program number 4, where we have also used the conditions. That means macros we can also use for replacing even the entire statement. Even we can also use it for the conditions. You can see that in case of this program arrange, we are going to use arrange. That means arrange is our macro template which is replacing with it condition. That means a is greater than 25 and a is less than 50, where again we are going to use macro. A and D is also a macro, which this A and D is also a macro, and this macro is replacing with this definition, that is your double and. So you can see that this is a macro within the macro. So this macro is arrange is containing the another macro, and this macro is and. Now when the compiler will execute this program, firstly it will replace this arrange with this condition, that is your left braces a is greater than 25 and a is less than 50. Now when it replace this one, then again it will replace and with and condition. This is your logical and condition. If the condition is true, you can see that a equal to 30, that means it is greater than 25 and a is less than 50, then it will print within range, otherwise it will print out of range. So this was another example of the program in which we are going to also define the conditions using the macros. Now we are going to see another example program in which even we will replace an entire C statement. So come back to our programming part. Now going to click file with the new file. So you can create new file here, C program file, go to, then select the particular definition and then select the path. So this is our example 5, and then click on the save button and then click on the finish. Now we need to write the program using macros. So first of all, I'm just going to define hash include stdio.h. Now we need to define here, so we are going to use hash define. Now one more important thing that I want to tell here, these are all are the directives. Like you can see that this is hash define, hash else if definition, else if not definition, else and if error, if definition, if and if definition, include line. there is most important pra gamma. So that is, all of these are the special types of directives that we will discuss in the end of this video. So let us we see how we can use this. This is suppose we are going to define found here, and this is your printf statement. So this printf statement we can use here for defining the macro definition. So the whole statement will be replaced directly. The macros are amazing. So we have written here. So we have written here a statement. The macros are amazing. Now we are going to use here void main. Now braces open. We are taking here character. Suppose I am taking a particular character A, and if we can also give the condition here. So to suppose we are taking here A equal to capital A, and we are defining the condition here. If A equal to capital A, then it will just use found. Else, otherwise, we can also give the statement here. So this is else. We can give here the printf statement, wrong statement. So when the compiler will execute this program, so it will replace found with this whole printf statement. The macros are amazing. Now we are going to compile this program. Just click on the save button and then build and run. So you can see that it is printing the macros are amazing. So we have learned how we can define the macros and what are the macro expansion and what is preprocessor directive here. So thank you students for watching my videos. If you really like my videos, please subscribe my channel and like the hit button. Thank you.